Mr. Gheorghiu, 1964, you are a junior world champion,
Yeah.
and now back in Romania, in the beautiful city of Sinaia,
Yeah,
we have a game against Liebert Heinz.
yeah, he was East German Grandmaster, and it was a very important tournament for both of us, of course. I mean, for our teams, because they organized in Sinaia in 1964 the demi-final of the European Team Championship, and it was very important for the Romanian team to try to qualify for the final. I mean, our opponents were Hungary, Bulgaria, and East Germany. Three very strong teams in that period. And
I guess was
our
like Eastern European
well, it was like this. It happened, of course, but
challenge.
all of them played very well. And to tell the truth, before the tournament, the Romanian team was considered to be an outsider. I mean, we didn't have the first chance to try to qualify, but finally we qualified. You know, it happened. It was very big success for
Okay,
the Romanian chess. Yeah.
nice. Okay, let's start the game.
And the game is
Okay.
very important theoretically and very beautiful. You'll see. Yeah. So I played d4, e6, d3. That was a small surprise, but not really, not very big one, because everybody knew in that time that the East German grandmasters played, almost all of them played the French defense against e4. So d3 avoids the main lines. Instead of d4 or knight f3 or knight c3, coming to the main variations, white plays, the quiet move. The first impression is that it's a quiet move, but not really too quiet. You'll see.
So in order to avoid
D3
the
to
French
avoid the main variation with
of the
d4,
French.
d5, knight c3, or knight d2, that comes back to the main variation of the French defense. d5, knight d2. Yes.
So this one, what is the
This
name of
is
this
the
open?
this is the so-called the King's Indian for white. You know, the white King's Indian. I mean, the reversed colors. You know, the same positions like in the King's Indian for black, but you play with white with one tempo more. I mean, extra tempo for white. Knight f6, knight f3, bishop e7, g3, c5, bishop g2, knight c6, castle, castle, rook e1. All of this is theory. I mean, even now it's theory. b5. This starts the active play on the queen side. Well, the alternative here is b6 and bishop b7, a little bit more quiet, to wait to see what happens, But b5 tries to have a very active game immediately for black. e5, knight d7.
So why the push on e5?
This is the idea for white. I mean, if black tries to come to a very active play on the queen side, the normal reaction for white is to try to attack on the other side. I mean, the king side and in center. e5 starts the complications, you see. h4, queen c7.
So it's attacking the pawn
Three times.
three
Yes.
times.
Now you have to be careful not to lose the pawn, of course. Yeah. So queen e2. Yes. And a5. Okay. Up to now, everything, as I told you before, is theory. Knight f1, bishop a6. Tries to come very quickly, to play, a little bit later, b4 and c4, to try to open the line. The bishop from a6 becomes very active, attacking the pawn from d3. And black tries to take immediately the initiative, but it doesn't come like this. I mean, it's not so easy.
Yeah, it looks like
It
black.
looks very good for black. Yes.
It looks very good, and it
Yes,
looks
yes.
already developed
Yes,
all the
yes,
pieces.
yes. The other idea was to play immediately with the pawn, pushing the pawns instead of bishop a6, a4 or b4. Try to attack on the queen side very quickly with the pawns, pushing the pawns. That was the alternative. Bishop f4, of course, b4, and now Knight e3 is a very good move. Knight e3.
Why is very good?
Because white prepares already a small combination. The idea is to take immediately on d5 and afterwards e6, recapturing the piece and have a better position in every variation.
So preparing the sacrifice?
Yes, you prepare the sacrifice in d5.
Ah, okay, and then
And
with
then
the attack
e6.
on the queen.
Yes. c4. Okay, now after c4, here you can take in c4, which is not very good, of course, because it's exactly what black wants. If you take in c4, takes a knight, takes e4, you don't have anything. After knight b6, black is even better. So now knight d5, and that starts very big complications. Where, in my opinion, white is always better. You'll see what happens in the next moves. So it has to take e6. Now the variation is almost forced. He has to play bishop d6 to try to trade a few pieces, of course.
Bishop
d6.
Bishop d6.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Now you take in d6. Queen takes d6. And now very good move. You have to do something very quickly with white. And now a very good move. D takes c4. Pardon. Excuse me. I made a mistake.
Is there a mistake here?
No. I took there, and he took in d3. And now comes the first surprise. Queen e8. Queen e8 is very, very strong move. And now the balance of the position is completely destroyed. I mean, black has to find a good move and has to take a very good important decision. Take immediately in c2 or play first rook d8. Rook d8 fine. It seems is very good because white is threatening already to take in a8, and afterwards, after rook takes a8, rook e8 check, and it seems that white is winning in all variations. Therefore, he played first rook d8. Rook d8. Bishop h3. That was the idea for white. When I started the combination, when I took in d7 and queen e8, I considered the position after bishop h3 is better for white. Bishop h3 protects the pawn from d7, and we have the same position and the same threats as before.
So he cannot take your queen because it will
No,
be
if
checked.
he takes there, he's lost immediately. Of course.
He's lost. So
Yeah,
if he
he's
takes
lost
here, you take with the rook,
no,
right?
you take with the pawn.
You
A
take
new
with the
queen.
pawn.
Yes, a new queen.
New queen. He
And-
takes.
And if he takes again, check and
Check,
queen
yes.
f8, and he lost. Finally, he lost the rook.
So you have an extra rook. Yes.
Yeah. So now he played queen f6. It seems that is very good move.
In order to
queen
hold
f6.
everything.
Yeah. He attacks everything in c2, in b2, and then f3. It seems is excellent for black. And now a very quiet move, queen e3, which gives advantage for white in all variations. Again, the pawn from d7 is very strong. We have the same idea for white as before, and he has to choose again the right continuation, what to play here. So now he took in c2, of course. Yeah. And now again, a very good move for white, very natural, of course, queen c5. This is probably the critical position for both, for white and for black. Now you have to try to do something very quickly with black. If you take in f3, after queen takes c6, it's clear that white is almost winning in every variation.
So if he takes here.
Yeah, if he takes in f3, queen takes c6, attacking the bishop from a6 and the pawn from c2, and white is also threatening rook c1 and rook e8, all of this. So now instead he decided to play something tactical, and he played b3. It seems he's very good for black again. Now I took in b3 and knight b4. That was the idea for black. He protected the bishop from a6 and the pawn from c2, And he is threatening also knight d3, and black is almost winning, you know.
Yes, yeah, looks
Because,
good for black.
Yeah, looks very good. And after knight e5, black has big trouble here.
Because now you blocked that, you took
Yes.
the
Yeah,
D3
everything is
field.
defended,
Yes.
and I attack in a5, and black has no good move, you know. What can he do here? He can't move both rooks. The queen has to stay in f6. The bishop from a6, you know, has no move, has no good move, I mean. The only piece that could move here is the knight from before, but only in d3. And if you trade the knight, all, you know, every position is clearly better for white. So he played knight d3. He was a little bit in type trouble also here. Takes, and now queen takes d5, and the position is lost for black. He has to go away with the bishop. But where? If he goes to g6, he loses the bishop after h5. So if he goes only to a6, he has to go back to a6. And now he loses the other pawn in a5 with tempo, you know. Yeah. And bishop b7. Yeah. That is the last hope for black. He's threatening, okay? Queen f3. And now very, you know, very normal move. Queen a5 to c3.
So he's threatening his queen will get here.
Yeah, he wants to come to f3. But of
Yes.
course you don't allow this. Queen c3, and now black is completely lost. He lost 2 pawns. The pawns from d7 are still there. You know, all the combinations are still possible. And I attack also the pawn from c2. The game is decided, of course. Queen d6. Now, okay, he lost also the pawn from c2. He could resign. Rook d7, rook d1, and he lost the whole rook, and he resigned afterwards. Here, black resigned. Very complicated game, but very, you know, very nice, finally, you know. Well, black maybe made 1-2 small mistakes, but the game was very beautiful, you know, very tactical like this.
Yes.
And very important theoretically, in that period, of course.
That pawn was the...
Yeah, the pawn from d7, you know, made everything possible, and afterwards the queen e8 was the decisive move. And the way the white queen, you know, moved from e2 to e8, and afterwards back to e3, back to c5, everything was very complicated, but also, you know, always in white's favor, you know.
Yes, and all the pieces also work...
Yes, very well coordinated for
yes,
white, you know.
Yes.